Hello everyone, and welcome to the Traveling Vegan channel. I am Phil Nicozisis, and I am here with an incredible young woman, Abby Lodmer, the conscious comedian, and she brought straight from Washington, where she lives, these lanyards and these placards. And if you can zoom in, it says, "Can't mask, don't ask, please be
kind."
And why do we want to be kind in this era? What's going on?
For a lot of reasons, though we are vegans and that is our motto and that's how we live. So this is just one more level of being kind.
Well, welcome to the show, Abby.
Thank you for having me, Phil.
You're not just the conscious comedian. You not only have your own thing going on, you've been on stages, you've been a rapper, you've been a life coach, you've been a health coach, you've been a chef. You're also a wonderful wife because your husband always seems to have a smile on his face. But you
Faker.
also edited and proofread my book, Have Laptop Will Travel.
I'm so proud of that.
And
one of my biggest accomplishments, actually.
Thank you. So tell me, people have been on this show, on this channel. We've done many exposés about the book itself. So it's not going to be just about me today. We're actually going to talk about you, Abby Lodmer, and what you're doing in the world to make the world a better place. And so tell me, Abby, about where you're from and how you got into this whole vegan movement.
Wow, thank you. What an intro. Thank you, Phil. I'm just so happy to be here today. My story goes, I'm born and raised in Malibu, California. I don't ever say I grew up there because I really haven't grown up. Peter Pan! I would be wearing a green dress to show that I love Peter Pan, but it would blend into the wall too much. So growing up there with billboards of very sexy ladies in very tight clothes with very big fake hooters was not probably the best example for me as a more zoftig, shorter, chunkier Jewish girl. Growing up amongst blonde, blue-eyed surfers in Malibu and having the Hollywood backdrop and the billboards and everything else, I grew up to be a very insecure person. I thought because I looked exotic, I was ugly. Because I didn't have huge fake boobs, I was not attractive. And so I developed bulimia.
Wait, you say fake boobs, but
right. Or even big boobs, even big, huge boobs.
But my opinion on fake boobs, if you can touch them, they're real.
Well, there we go then. Tomato. There we go.
I agree with your opinion, but continue, please. I digress.
I love it. No, you know what? Everyone has their opinions. They're like assholes. So bleep, bleep. So I grew up in that culture of a very superficial, fake Hollywood scene and developed bulimia by age, probably my teens. I developed exercise bulimia by age 10. So I'd come home from elementary school and I'd work out in my parents' gym for 5 hours a day. It was totally unhealthy and crazy. And I just had major eating issues. Then I found the Lemonade Master Cleanse right after I finished grad school.
Is that a form of fasting?
It is a form of cleansing. And
okay, cleansing.
I believe fasting means no food whatsoever. So it wasn't exactly a fast, it was more of a juice feast. It's lemons, lemonade, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper, and it was a really famous
feast.
cleanse.
Boy, that's a way to trick yourself into not pretending that you're not hungry.
Yeah, don't deprive yourself. That's one of my mottos as a health coach. Why should we feel deprived? Just binge healthier.
Well, that is the thing about vegan is you think that it's actually taking things away, but the more we get into the vegan, the more we get into the cuisine, and we realize that it's more bountiful than we ever thought possible. I mean, in my book, I was in 10 countries, as you know, and actually in 3 years' time, I've been in, I think, over 20 countries. And what I noticed, especially using the Happy Cow app, which allows me to find vegan restaurants all over the world, I find these holes in the wall, I would never find them but for the fact that Happy Cow takes me to, off the beaten path and to this restaurant where the owners are so happy that there's another vegan from around the world,
so cool.
And I can give it reviews with the 5 stars, hopefully. But the point I want to make is, if I'm in Japan and I'm eating the colorful beetroots of Japan, or whether it's the exotic fruits of South America, or the rich, spicy, dal and sauces of India and Europe, with what they will do with their vegan versions of, say, goulash and Mediterranean food with the hummus, the tabbouleh, the baba ganoush. It just never stops getting better and better. But of course, I digress. Continue on your path about.
I concur, and hopefully you don't get Montezuma's revenge in the process, especially in India with the dal. So especially if there's no ghee, then you won't get diarrhea or dysentery. Thank God. Yeah, so I was a big foodie like yourself, except I was a big foodie of the standard American diet growing up. So I was a big foodie for dairy, gluten, white flour, white sugar, and I felt like crap. I was depressed. I had
When you say a foodie,
acne.
you were advocate or you just enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It was my drug. I never got into drugs or alcohol. As you know, I'm totally hungover right now from drinking 2 glasses of wine. So I am a food addict.
It was all worth it, though, right?
It was all worth it. Good times abounded.
The star flies in from Washington State, and we have to basically take her on a big event last night where we hosted her, and she let it loose. I actually saw you had 1.5 glasses of wine. And, people ask me if I drink alcohol, and I tell them, I'm a vegan, not a saint.
It was a heavy pour, okay?
It was a heavy pour,
It was 1.5 very big goblet glasses of wine.
How did you get into vegan? And maybe you can... Actually, it's a double question. They're actually not related questions. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am right now. Can you give us a little rap? Can you give us a little rap about why you're vegan?
Let me freestyle.
Freestyle it.
First of all, really quickly, I went into veganism after the Lemonade Master Cleanse. I just had to finish that thought.
Gotcha.
Because I read that book, and it was like just cleanse and detox from eating crap your whole life. And then towards the end of the little pamphlet, he said, and why not just stick that way, and then you don't have to cleanse as much because you'll just be eating clean and feeling great. So thank you, the Lemonade Master Cleanse. That is when I became vegan in my early 20s. So let's just bust a rhyme.
Bust a rhyme.
I love being vegan. It serves my soul. It nourishes my body and it makes me feel whole. All those foods from the earth are so clean, they make me feel like healthy and green. It was freestyle. I totally made that up.
And I said I didn't want to put you on the spot. Forgive me for doing that. But
I should have prepared something.
You're a talented, you are prepared because you brought your brain and your talents here.
Thank you.
And it's so wonderful. So actually, let's fast forward a little bit.
Yes.
You and I, the conscious comedian and the traveling vegan, we met, I'm going to say it was 6 years ago, at our favorite place in the whole world, which is Hippocrates Health Institute, which is right here in Palm Beach. It's, we like to say it's the jewel of Florida or South Florida, but really it's the jewel of the world because, as you know, people are coming in from all over the world. 400,000 people have gone through their 3-week life transformation program, but you and I went through the Health Educator program. So besides the 3-week program, what did we do? We went through a 9-week Health Educator program, which was, to sum it all up, it was a very deep dive. I mean, 3 weeks is enough to make a habit. That's why the program is 3 weeks. But 9 weeks, I call it an inoculate. Actually, it's a bad analogy because we don't like vaccines, right? But it's an inoculation. If you wanted to be inoculated by anything, it would be through whole food, plant-based diet.
Amen.
And in Hippocrates, as you know, it's raw food. So tell me about how you felt and what it was like to go through the program at Hippocrates Health Institute right here in Palm Beach.
It was absolutely amazing. It was completely life transforming, like the program's name says, life transformation program. I detoxed harder than any of the MS, polio, Parkinson's, depression, diabetes, 4-stage cancer patients that I met there. I was detoxing harder than any of them. I haven't been to a doctor in probably 25 years, thank God. I don't go to doctors. I am my own healer.
The doctor comes to you.
The doctor comes
wants to
me.
know who you are and why you're doing so good.
That's
who are
right.
you? What are you doing?
Exactly.
That's us proud vegans.
We vegans have doctors coming to us to say, how can I do what you're doing to help my patients heal?
The healthy vegans, actually.
The healthy
There's
vegans.
a lot of unhealthy vegans that give us a bad name, but we're not going to put them down. Everybody is on a path. But the point is, Hippocrates is, and their food program, which you can take at home, you can eat that way anywhere in the world, is the gold standard for how we should eat vegan. And in the next episode, I think you're coming back. I think let's give them a little teaser here. We're going to do, what are we going to do?
We're just going to show you how to be Hippocratarians yourselves. We're going to show you some of the main fabulous foods that are made and served on campus at Hippocrates. We're going to show you how to be a
going to do a food
Hippocratean yourself.
demonstration.
A food prep demo.
And then we're going to eat
not
it.
food cooking demo.
Yeah, food demo.
Food prep.
And there's a name for that. It's a trend now. It's called mukbang.
Mukbang.
We're going to do mukbang.
Yeah, mukbang. We're going to do mukbang.
Wait, was that a cultural?
It's going to be so exciting.
Was that a cultural appropriation
No,
that I just did there?
we just have really great accents. My Korean and Chinese friends, whenever they teach me words in their language, they tell me that I have this uncanny ability to just pick up the exact intonation. So I'm honored to just say that we're going to do mukbang.
Mukbang.
In that accent.
And that's
how
coming up
it should
next,
be pronounced.
right? That's going to
Yes.
be coming up next.
It's like when my Asian friends try to change their names to be Judy or Kim or Valerie. I'm like, what's your real name? Why don't you go by your real name? Why don't you make Americans rise up and have to intonate some awesome mukbang type of words? That's how I feel.
When my grandparents came from Greece, it was actually in fashion to change what they call anglicize your name. But Nicozisis, they never changed it.
Yay.
And I'm happy they didn't. And I'm proud of, I think you're proud of your Jewish heritage. I'm proud of my Greek heritage. And, as I've said in the past, a Greek is like a Jew with a ship. And so here we are.
And it's so much fun riding on ships with Phil. Only ever go yachting with a Greek, okay? For every reason. The best wine, the best poo-poos, and the best time. And the best oppa dancing. Only ever go on a ship with a Greek, okay? I digress. But yes, Hippocrates completely transformed my life after the 3 weeks of completely detoxing, where it was really, really challenging because obviously I've never been to a doctor. I don't know what I had. I could have had God knows what stage of cancer. But whatever it was got out, and then after that, I felt incredible.
On
no,
day, oh, you didn't do the blood work?
I didn't do the blood work. I just went for the program.
On my, I chose to do the blood work option. On day 1 or 2, they did my blood, and then on the last day or the last week, they did my blood. And even as even if you were a vegan, the blood work was completely changed over.
Wow.
And of course, at that time, I was eating the standard American diet, the SAD diet. And I think the day before I went into Hippocrates, I was at Morton's Steakhouse for like a final hurrah. And, there's something about that. Once you realize, you do it for your health at first, but for me, what I realized, it's really, if you get past that, something else starts to sink. And when you realize it's not about you. It's not about you and your health, although that's nice. Veganism's great if you want to be narcissistic, if you want to look sexier, feel sexier, and those kind of things. But it's really about what kind of world we live in. If we're here for just a few short decades, whether it's 4 decades or 12 decades, and we might as well go through our life by not causing harm, devastation, and killing against not only sentient life but also the world. And the earth, I mean, have you looked around and noticed how beautiful the earth is?
Yes, I have, especially driving around with you. Woo, sorry. COVID, just kidding, not at all. We should all get COVID anyway. It'll just strengthen our immune systems. But yes, this earth is magical and beautiful, and we need to do everything in our power to keep it that way. I don't want big drilling operations or big high rises in the midst of my rainforests or my glorious tree forest. I want them to stay healthy without runoff from factory farms slithering in and totally toxifying our waterways.
Tell me about how you felt at the end of Hippocrates, and then after Hippocrates, when I met you, it was, like I said, 6 years ago. Wasn't that just really the beginning of the path? Like, tell me what it was like then, because when you're on that 50-acre campus, it's a bubble. And it's totally not reality. Everybody's happy. Everybody's getting happier. People are getting well. You're eating the most cleanest, best raw food. This side of heaven. And then you go back. You get on an airplane. You go back to Washington State. And what's it like to then come back into the real world? And what have you done with your training and your advocacy as a vegan? What's going on these days?
Wow, great questions. It was very challenging going back into the real world, very challenging for me, having to juice my own wheatgrass and juice my own green juice, whereas at Hippocrates, everything was just there for us. We had a plethora of amazing sprouts that they grew there and amazing foods that they grew in their garden there, and green juice ready for us every single day, and wheatgrass at the ready every single day. I had to now grow my own or order my own, hand crank my own, because I didn't have an official juicer at that point. It was so challenging. And then everyone around me was like, oh, live a little, eat some canola oil. Oh, it's just a little fake meat. Oh, it's just a little GMO soy crap. Just whatever, let's go out for Thai and just eat some fake meat. How about let's not? How about come over and I'll make you a sprout burrito? without white flour, with a nori sheet. So yeah, it was really challenging. But once I got over the hump, the challenging hump of reintegrating like our ancestors did, trying to assimilate into America, it was really rewarding, and I have become a light for health and vibrance. And I'm 80. Look at me. Like, come on, guys. You guys better go vegan. I mean, look at this. Okay? So I've become an advocate for aging gracefully.
You are the best looking octogenarian I've ever seen.
That's it. That's what veganism does. So all I can be is a living example. And then instead of me having to kowtow or assimilate into the unhealthy vegan world or the unhealthy, sad American diet world, I am lifting my friends and family up. Like, look how great you can feel. You don't need to nap in the middle of the day. You can have energy all day long. Here's some sprouts. Here's some wheatgrass. Here's some celery juice. Here's some green juice. Get up on it. Eat some dulse. And you're going to dehydrated flax crackers, whatever. And you're going to feel amazing.
You're making me hungry.
I know. We should probably skip to today to do the next episode instead of waiting for me to come back.
Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah. Let's do some food prep and show them how it's done.
Well,
Yeah.
Abby, thank you so much for coming across the country to be on the show, the Traveling Vegan Show. And I want to thank you for proofreading my book, which you did. You're a literary expert, and you definitely, I forgot to mention this, state for the record, it was Abby's idea to put a quote at the beginning of each chapter, which actually turned out to be, I think, one of the most attractive features of the organization of the book. There's 12 chapters with 12 cities, 12 chapters, and each chapter opening has the map of where you are in the world, and then also a quote that intends to say the tone of that chapter. For example, and you helped me so much with this, I want to say this. Chapter 2, Prague, the Czech Republic, and the quote says, "Some people think that ebooks are better than paper books because they think paper books take up space. But then the Sistine Chapel takes up space, your children take up space, and the city of Prague, it takes up space too."
Love
and
that.
I put that in there because, as you know, if you've ever been there, it is a spellbinding, just absolutely stunning medieval type Gothic architecture that magically somehow wasn't destroyed during World War II.
Amazing.
And you're walking around the city like you feel like you're in some storybook, some kind of fantasy land. And so that thank you for giving me the idea for putting the quotes in the book, Abby.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure, my honor. I'm so honored, and it flows magically, and it is an international bestseller, and it is an amazing book, if I do say so myself. As the not writer, but the editor, it is an amazing, amazing book. It is spellbinding, just like Prague, and everybody needs to get a copy and read it. Delve in. You will feel like you're traveling the world with this veg-ebrity.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Traveling Vegan YouTube channel. Stay tuned for many more episodes to come. I really hope you're enjoying our content here on the Traveling Vegan channel. Take care and have a vegan fantastic day.